Did you know there's a simple but powerful secret to protecting your home and family from spiritual blockages during Lent? Many people don't realize that everyday objects, like the ones in your kitchen, might be attracting negative energy and blocking divine blessings. Padre Pio, one of the most revered saints, revealed that certain common things can be true portals for spiritual negativity. And the best part, the solution is within your reach. If you want to know how to transform your kitchen into a spiritually protective space and start experiencing meaningful changes in your life, keep reading, because what you'll discover might be the key to unlocking unexpected blessings. Lent is a time of deep reflection and spiritual renewal, but many don't realize it's also a period of intense invisible battles. There's a reason why, during this time, conflicts at home seem to increase, prayers become harder, and spirits are low. Some Catholic families experience senseless arguments, excessive fatigue, or even sudden financial struggles. This is no coincidence. Just as God strengthens the faithful, there are spiritual forces that try to weaken them by blocking blessings and creating barriers where peace once existed. The enemy knows this is a sacred time and will do everything possible to distract, confuse, and spiritually drain those who seek to draw closer to Christ. What many don't realize is that these spiritual blockages can be fed by small, everyday details, things that seem harmless, but which, without realizing it, open doors to negativity. Have you ever noticed how certain areas of your home seem to carry a heavy energy? Like everything suddenly becomes more tense, as if blessings are locked in some part of your life? It's not just a feeling. There are objects and habits that serve as true magnets for this negative spiritual energy. And the most surprising part is that some of these elements might be right in your kitchen, a place intrinsically linked to provision, communion, and even daily devotion. This is exactly what one of the most admired saints in the Catholic Church noticed. Padre Pio, known for his spiritual visions and deep discernment, revealed that certain common kitchen items could act as portals for influences that drain the spiritual energy of a home. Many ignore these revelations and unknowingly allow their faith, devotional life, and even well-being to be affected. But what exactly did Padre Pio identify? Which objects are these, and why can they become dangerous? Padre Pio was a man of intense spirituality, known for his mystical gifts and divine revelations. In one of his visions, he realized something that many would never imagine. Certain common kitchen items could act as points of attraction for negative spiritual influences. For many, this might sound strange at first, but those who understand the spiritual dimension know that nothing in the physical world is disconnected from the invisible. Just as the Bible teaches that prayer can consecrate an environment, some elements can also, unintentionally, attract blockages that affect the peace and abundance of a home. The saint identified that the arrangement of certain utensils and the way they're left exposed can directly interfere with the spiritual harmony of a Christian home. A space where there's constant agitation, minor arguments, and a sense of heaviness may not just be the result of daily stress, but could be due to the subtle presence of influences that find space to manifest. We're not talking about superstitions or folk beliefs, but a deep understanding of how spirituality manifests in everyday life. After all, if a simple blessed object can serve as protection, wouldn't it make sense that certain elements could have the opposite effect? In light of this revelation, Padre Pio warned about 5 specific objects that, if not cared for properly, could become true obstacles to divine grace. These are items found in every home, and depending on how they're arranged, they can affect the flow of blessings. The impact can be felt in finances, family harmony, and even health. The question remains, what are these objects, and how might they be interfering with your life without you realizing it? The first item revealed by Padre Pio as a spiritual block is exposed knives, or cuchillos expuestos. At first glance, they're just tools for food preparation, but Padre Pio saw a hidden power in them. When a knife is out of place, exposed, and visible, it symbolizes not just physical cutting but also the interruption of spiritual blessings flowing into the home. Looking at this utensil, often unconsciously, the mind may associate it with violence, conflict, and even frustration. Padre Pio's advice was simple. Keep knives stored in appropriate places, where they won't be frequently seen, to avoid cutting off and blocking the spiritual energy of the home. Another item identified as dangerous are transparent containers. While they might seem harmless, these objects amplify spiritual vulnerabilities. If you observe them, these containers reflect light intensely, but they also reflect the insecurities and fears that afflict the family members. They amplify the negative energy circulating through the house, mainly affecting financial stability. Padre Pio advised that during more sensitive periods, like Lent, it would be wise to cover or replace transparent containers with opaque ones, creating symbolic protection for the flow of blessings and resources. Suspended metals were also identified as objects that create spiritual turbulence. Items like pots or metal utensils hanging on the walls can create tensions, both physical and spiritual. The presence of these metals can lead to constant headaches and a general sense of discomfort for those living in the home. Padre Pio recommended avoiding this type of arrangement, as suspended metal creates an energetic field that interferes with the calm and peace of the household. As an alternative, it's advised to store these utensils in closed spaces or, at the very least, keep the number of visible and hanging metal items to a minimum to ensure a more balanced environment. Another item identified as dangerous are reflective surfaces, such as chrome or mirrored appliances. At first glance, these items may seem modern and stylish, but according to Padre Pio, they have the ability to distort the spiritual energy of the home. Reflective surfaces amplify the negative thoughts and emotions that may circulate through the house, creating a field of tension. They produce a kind of false light that interferes with deeper, more genuine energies, making peace and spiritual balance more difficult. A good practice is to cover these reflective surfaces, either with cloths or, if possible, replace them with simpler items that won't disrupt the spiritual flow. Another powerful blocker identified by Padre Pio is an uncovered faucet, especially those that are leaking. This small detail might seem insignificant, but it's precisely this appearance of negligence that can cause a draining of the spiritual blessings accumulated in the home. Water, which should be a symbol of purification and abundance, becomes an agent of energy depletion. Therefore, it's important to keep faucets tightly closed, and if there's a leak, fix them as soon as possible. This is not only a practical matter, but also a way to ensure that divine blessings aren't inadvertently lost. These details, often unnoticed in daily life, are crucial for creating a spiritually protected environment. Padre Pio knew that combining a well-organized home with properly covered or stored objects could create an energetic field conducive to peace and prosperity. By making these simple changes, you'll begin to notice how small adjustments in your home can bring about significant benefits in your spiritual life. Many faithful who followed Padre Pio's guidance began to experience remarkable transformations in their lives. Stories emerged from families who, after reorganizing their kitchens and covering certain items, noticed an immediate improvement in their finances. Unexpected blessings began to appear, such as job promotions or business opportunities that had seemed distant before. But the change wasn't limited to material aspects. Many families reported a renewed inner peace, where arguments diminished and harmony returned to their homes. The simple act of adjusting the arrangement of objects, with faith and intention, was enough to open the doors to abundance. One of the most impactful testimonies came from a young Christian who, during Lent, felt spiritually blocked. She was struggling in her devotional life, with prayer becoming more and more difficult and her connection with God feeling distant. Following Padre Pio's advice, she covered the exposed knives, reorganized the transparent containers, and even moved the metal utensils in the kitchen. After a few weeks, she noticed that not only had her prayers become deeper, but blessings began to flow more intensely. She experienced not just a spiritual renewal, but also improvement in her emotional health and relationships. In addition to spiritual and material transformations, many testimonies report that by applying Padre Pio's instructions, young Christians found a new way of living their spirituality. They learned to see the kitchen not only as a space for preparing meals, but as a sacred place, where every gesture, every prayer, and even each object has the power to create blessings or blockages. With the change in habits and the arrangement of objects, The connection with God and the Christian community was strengthened, creating an environment of true worship. The kitchen, as a center of nutrition and provision, carries a unique energy within a home. It's not just where we prepare our meals, but also a space where spirituality manifests in subtle ways. Therefore, spiritual protection in this space is essential, especially during Lent. Padre Pio believed that the arrangement of objects in the kitchen could directly affect the blessings flowing into one's life. The kitchen should be a place of consecration, where, as you prepare a dish, you also prepare your heart to receive divine grace. When items like exposed knives or metal utensils are visible, they can act as obstacles, preventing positive energy from reaching the family. That's why Padre Pio's recommendation is clear: reorganize the kitchen in a way that protects it spiritually. This doesn't just mean covering or storing objects, but also performing a mental and emotional cleaning of everyone involved. By taking care of the kitchen's arrangement, you're also caring for your faith and your relationship with the divine. This simple act of rearranging utensils and objects could be the beginning of a deeper transformation. It's a time of introspection, a moment to reconsider how you and your family connect with God and spirituality in daily life. Furthermore, covering or reorganizing the kitchen's objects is also a symbolic act of faith. It shows that you're willing to protect not just your physical space but also your spirit. By doing so, you create an energetic field that allows blessings to flow freely into your life. Never underestimate the power of a harmonized environment. Often, spiritual blockages don't come from the outside, but from the way we interact with the elements around us within our home. And this relationship often begins in the kitchen. The good news is that, while these 5 objects may seem like a spiritual threat, Padre Pio revealed a simple yet powerful solution to transform any blockage into a channel for blessings. It's not about a magical remedy or a complex ritual, but a fundamental principle: consecration and intention. By applying true faith, any object, even those that cause spiritual blockages, can be transformed into a source of positive energy. Padre Pio taught that by covering or rearranging kitchen items with prayer, you are literally purifying the environment, making space for God's blessings to flow abundantly. The miraculous solution lies in every act of faith we perform with sincerity and devotion. It's not enough just to cover the knives or containers. The change must be accompanied by prayer and an open heart to divine transformation. By doing this, you create a new spiritual dynamic in your home, where even the simplest utensils can serve as channels of light and blessing. If done with faith, the process is almost like an alignment of your spiritual life, where blockages dissipate and abundance begins to manifest. As you go through this process, you start to notice how everything in your life, your health, your relationships, and your finances, becomes more aligned with God's will. The kitchen, which was once just a place for preparing meals, transforms into a space of consecration, praise, and true worship. And the key to this transformation: true faith, continuous prayer, and the certainty that, with God, even the simplest objects can become instruments of miracles. When we talk about reorganizing the kitchen for spiritual protection, we often forget the power of prayer while doing so. It's not just about covering or moving objects, but about infusing every action with divine intention. By doing this, you're not only rearranging utensils but also creating an environment that reflects your faith and spirituality. When you place a pot in its proper place, for example, you can say a brief prayer asking for protection for your home and family. This creates a space of resignification, where every corner of the kitchen is not only functional but also blessed. This process can be done ritually, where each part of the kitchen becomes a consecrated space. Imagine that as you clean the counter, you're not just physically cleaning but symbolically clearing away any negative energies that may have accumulated there. The simple act of saying words like, "Lord, bless this home and our family," as you organize the space, fills the environment with sacred energy. Prayer during this process has the power to amplify peace and protection in your home, creating a more secure and spiritually aligned environment. This gesture doesn't need to be complicated. Sometimes, Just a simple thought of gratitude as you organize the kitchen already begins to establish a deep connection with the divine. And that connection reverberates throughout the space. It's a practice that can be done spontaneously but brings powerful results. In this way, the kitchen becomes more than a space for preparing meals. It transforms into a sanctuary of blessings. When it comes to the spiritual energy of the home, nothing goes unnoticed. The energy present in the kitchen, in particular, has a great impact on family dynamics because it's the place where nourishment, both physical and spiritual, begins. If the kitchen environment is messy, dirty, or spiritually neglected, this can reflect in tensions within the family. Disorganization in the kitchen can create a field of disharmonious vibrations that end up affecting the mood and energy of family members. For example, a family member may start to feel more stressed or anxious due to disorganization or the presence of heavy energies in the space. On the other hand, when the kitchen is cared for with the same devotion we give to our spiritual lives, it becomes a place of restoration and unity. An organized and spiritually protected environment creates a more balanced vibration that reflects in interpersonal relationships. As family members sense this harmonious environment, they'll feel more welcomed and protected, strengthening family bonds. In a home where spiritual energy flows freely, it's easier for everyone to live in peace, cooperate with one another, and share moments of joy and understanding. One way to ensure this harmony is by practicing small acts of faith as a family, such as praying before meals, keeping the kitchen organized, and ensuring the space is always clean and welcoming. These simple gestures help maintain spiritual peace not just in one room but throughout the entire house. After all, the energy of the kitchen directly affects emotions and family interactions, and this is something that should not be underestimated. The choice of colors in the kitchen isn't just an aesthetic concern, but also a spiritual one. Colors have a significant influence on our inner energy and, consequently, on the energy of the environment around us. When it comes to spiritually protecting the kitchen, choosing the right colors can create a harmonious environment that promotes peace, health, and prosperity. Colors like white, beige, and green are ideal for this purpose. White, for example, is associated with purity and protection, helping to create a space of mental and spiritual clarity. Beige is a neutral color that brings balance and serenity, while green is widely associated with healing and spiritual growth, creating a vibrant and positive energy. Additionally, it's important to remember that very strong or vibrant colors, such as red or yellow, can create tension and agitation in the environment. While these colors can be energizing in small doses, in a space like the kitchen, where nourishment and calm should prevail, they can interfere with the flow of spiritual energy. By choosing softer tones, you create an environment that promotes tranquility and makes it easier to focus on prayers and meditations in the space. If you're thinking of changing the color palette of your kitchen, consider using soft tones for walls, utensils, and accessories. Additionally, green plants can be an excellent addition, as they not only improve the aesthetic but also purify the environment and bring a sense of spiritual renewal. When the colors and environment are aligned with spirituality, the kitchen becomes not only a place of nourishment but also a sanctuary of peace, providing an ideal space for daily devotional practice. In many Christian traditions, the act of blessing food before consuming it is seen as a practice of faith that transcends the simple act of eating. This practice extends to the utensils and objects in the kitchen, which, when blessed, become sacred instruments, filled with positive energy and protection. Each plate, each knife, and each pot has the potential to be a vessel of blessings when a prayer of consecration is made. Blessing the food and utensils while preparing them is not just a symbolic gesture, but a way to transform the everyday into something divine. Imagine, for example, while chopping vegetables or stirring the pot, saying a prayer asking the Lord to bless the food and those who will partake of it. This creates a deep connection between prayer and the act of nourishing, reflecting in the physical and spiritual health of everyone in the family. This simple act of consecrating the objects in the kitchen makes the environment more than just a place for food preparation, but a place of true worship and spirituality. Moreover, when the kitchen utensils are consecrated, they can help maintain the energetic balance of the home. Each time you use them, You are creating a bond of faith with the divine, where even the act of cooking becomes an extension of your devotion. It is a practice that can be easily incorporated into your daily routine, bringing not only spiritual protection but also a sense of gratitude and respect for the food that sustains us. By blessing the utensils and food, you are connecting with the divine source, allowing God's blessings to flow over every aspect of your life. Now that you understand how simple objects in your kitchen can impact your spiritual life, it's time to put these teachings into practice. You will reorganize the utensils, cover the objects, and most importantly, take time to pray and bless your home. How about starting now? Imagine how the energy in your home can transform, bringing peace, harmony, and even new financial blessings. What are you waiting for to take this step? Let us know in the comments how this experience is going for you, and share your discoveries with the ones you love. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning about how to maintain your spiritual life in balance.